For my multimodal project this semester, I decided to really focus in on the concept of learning through lament. And, not just discussing what learning through lament is, what it means for different individuals, but more specifically, why learning through lament is such an important trait to have as a Christian, and why it is something that needs to be embedded within the church, within the body of Christ. It's something that we're not talking about enough, and I think it all starts with the church leaders, which I talked about a little bit in my multimodal project. This isn't just something that people like me and you, everyday people, students, families, whoever it is, it's not just something that we need to acknowledge and realize, learning through lament is an important concept, but it's something that actually needs to be taught to us. And I think it does start at the top. It starts with the church leaders. And my point in saying that is to bring attention to the fact that right now, learning through lament is something that just isn't given enough attention. It doesn't really have much traction. It almost feels like an uncomfortable topic because I don't know if we really understand how to approach it, even as Christians. And I do discuss that in my multimodal project. Throughout the semester, I was able to pull from different resources. I was able to look at the opinions, the stances of other people, and really get a wide variety of stances, of opinions, of outlooks and perspectives on this concept of learning through lament, both as a Christian from some Christian perspectives, but also just from a more secular worldview. And ultimately, throughout writing essays, throughout doing research, and throughout just the time that I've been given to really focus in on this concept that I've been working on all semester, I was able to finish the semester strong with my multimodal project and ultimately develop a really strong opinion, a really strong perspective on why it is so important to learn through laments as a Christian and what that looks like. In my multimodal project, I did discuss that there are two aspects of this concept of learning through lament. Obviously you have the learning portion, but there's also the lament portion. And as Christians, I think it's really easy for us to overlook the lament portion. Ultimately, we are trying to grow in this time of suffering, and that's what learning through lament is. We're trying to grow in a time of pain, during a time of trial, a challenge. We're trying to better ourselves. We're trying to become more complete just from a Christian perspective, as we're using it here, a Christian context. We're trying to become more in unison, more complete and full in God, and ultimately develop our relationship with Him and become more full for His honor and for His glory. And that's all stuff that I talk about throughout my own multimodal project. I had a lot of fun. It was really interesting to be able to see everyone's different perspective. Is this an important thing? Is this something that necessarily needs to be talked about within the church? How important is this? Is this something that, we need to be preaching sermons on? Is this something that needs to be addressed in a certain setting of the church, maybe in small groups? Is this important to bring up in youth groups? How early do we start implementing this concept, these ideas of learning through lament? And that was all stuff that I was able to research, and I feel like I did a great job of including bits and pieces of that information in my multimodal project. It was a great semester, and all in all, I do believe that learning through lament is a super important concept, a super important skill for Christians, for the body of Christ to have in today's world.